In last class, we tried to discuss about development communication, and through definitions from various scholars, we try to understand basically what is development communication. And today, in second class, in continuation, in last class, we talked about what is development communication, and there are various definitions about various different scholars. And we discussed about Hetne, who says it is about appropriate intervention. What is appropriate intervention? We already discussed it, right? Then we came to Nora Kubral, and Nora Kubral discusses it that it is an art and science, and it is a kind of human communication. And for what? For spirit transformation from poverty to dynamic state of economic growth. Then it talks about economic and social equality and larger fulfillment of human potential. All these things we discussed in detail. So this is you have my previous lecture also. So if you forgot anything, you can refer to my lecture. Video lecture is available I will send you the slide also, so you can go through all these things, and how we learned that how population, nutrition, health, education, all these things are now included in development. And we discussed about Melkote and how he tried to trace the trajectory of concept, and from 1991 to 2015, how the emphasis of development communication changed over time. And we discussed all these things. Then we discussed in phases also that how after post-World War II, how attention was mainly on Europe, and then after it came to third world countries who were newly independent countries. And after that, and after 1970s, when all this capitalism-centric development did not work in third world countries, then World Bank started focusing on basic need model, that at least basic needs of every citizen, every person should be fulfilled. And how it will be fulfilled? By rural development, because majority of population in these third world countries live in rural areas. So these things we discussed, and in 1980 the structural adjustment program came, and how then the World Bank and international institutions started focusing on privatization, and so that government can come out of all these business affairs, and government can focus on social development. Government can focus on bringing empowerment and empowering those classes who are downtrodden, who are marginalized class, who are backward classes. So this is how things change. And after 1990s, as we know, that other things which are not related to our basic need or economic growth, but these are essential things for our development, because a sense of development is important, sense of equality, sense of justice is important. So how we will ensure all these things? Only by bringing in human rights, social justice, free speech, gender equality. All these things are included after 1990. So these are the through phases we try to discuss about development communication, and we also discussed why it is needed, because a lot more people need us. They need development communication. They want to change their lives, but they don't know how to change their lives. So that's why development communicators are needed to provide them necessary information and critical information for change. So this is how we discussed the thing. And now just try to understand that how this development communication was taken forward after Second World War. After Second World War, the paradigm. What is paradigm? Paradigm is a thought process, basically. Paradigm is a viewpoint, you can say, and you can say that a paradigm is a big umbrella. Under that umbrella, various theories, various approaches, various models come in, right? So when we say that after Second World War there was a time of dominant paradigm, it means there was a dominant view of development, and to promote that dominant view, various theories and various models, various approaches was adopted, right? So what was the dominant view at that time, right? As you can see in first point, the dominant view was that modernization theory of development. What it says? It says that if you want to be developed, you have to adopt modernization theory. And what is modernization theory? Modernization theory means that adopt the development models of West, adopt the social structure of West, adopt the ideologies of West, adopt the technologies of West, adopt the lifestyle of West, and after adopting that thing, you will be developed. This is what dominant, and that's why under dominant paradigm there were various theories which we will discuss later on. All the theories always try to focus on bringing promoting capitalistic economy and promoting Western ideology, promoting Western way of living styles. And that's why after Second World War you will find that every country, all other countries which were got independence, all those countries have started adopting this model, including India. In India also, we tried to adopt this theory just because we also wanted to be developed. We also want to bring development in our country. So that's why we adopted this model. We will not discuss it in detail here because there are 4 or 5 theories under dominant paradigm, which we will discuss in detail. I'm just trying to give you an outlook of whole development things, that how it was brought in our country and other third world countries. So this paradigm emphasizes long-term attitudinal and behavioral change to achieve development as was in West. As I told you that how development will come by attitudinal change, behavior change. I mean, modernization theory says that people don't have a right kind of attitude. They need to change their attitude for development. Right. For example, take the example of India. India is a country which always tried to promote the idea of simple living and high thinking. In ancient world, in medieval world also, they were never focused on wealth creation. We always try to focus on simple living and high thinking, because for us spiritual things were more important, right? That's why we'll find that there is an ashram system in our country, that how after brahmacharya, grihas, then vanapras, then sannyas, all these things were there only to promote simple living and high thinking. It means that this kind of attitude of simple living and high thinking is not good for development. So you have to change this attitude. You have to start thinking about creation of wealth. You have to start thinking of increasing consumption. You have to start thinking about using variety of products and services. So this attitudinal change is very much necessary to bring development. Even now, go to the villages and you will find that people are fatalistic. Fatalistic means they are bhagyavadi, isko kehte hain. They are fatalistic. They believe that whatever in what position they are, all these are just because of their fate. So how will we bring them out from this kind of thinking? Only when they change their attitude. They start thinking, no, this is not our fate. We can change our lives. This attitude needs to be brought in to bring development in the society. So this paradigm always emphasized on this thing, behavioral change. There are certain behaviors in society which need to be changed. Then only development will come. Then third thing which dominant paradigm focuses on is that role of mass media in this paradigm is as a persuader to behavior change, right? What will mass media do? Mass media will persuade people to change their behavior, right? And even now in current scenario, you must be seeing that how mass media persuade us to believe a thing, persuade us to disbelieve a thing. If you follow mass media, you will find that non-news is becoming a news, and you have to follow that, and they continuously they keep persuading you to behave a particular accept a particular thing, and after 2-3 episode or 2-3 days you start believing what media is saying, right? Even now media is doing the same thing. But as far as development communication is concerned, the role of media was to persuade people to accept the idea of development. And in our country, you will find that mass media was used to promote population control, to promote agricultural reforms, to promote education. All these things were promoted through mass media. Even some behavioral change also was promoted in our country, as equality, women empowerment. All these ideas were promoted through mass media. I mean, you will have to go to the phase of Doordarshan, when Doordarshan used to broadcast programs which used to promote such kind of ideas. I'm not talking about today's media. I'm talking about the media when that the media was state sponsored. Even now we have Doordarshan, but no one watched Doordarshan, right? So that's why when Doordarshan was the only channel, Doordarshan always tried to persuade people to accept development related ideas, and it helped. Even I'm not saying that we have achieved as much as we thought, but yes, we are on right path. We have controlled our population. Now average growth rate in per family just above 3, it's 3.5, 3.6. There was time when in one family there is to be 8 or 9 children, but now even in rural areas you will find that no 3-4 is they are not having more than 3 or 4 children. So it has persuaded people, even education, to become literate, and there are so many social problems in our country, like communal thinking, caste-based discrimination, gender discrimination, and all these things are being targeted by mass media of that time, and they try to persuade people to adopt right things. So this was the idea. So main idea was to you have to promote modernization theory. What is modernization theory? That to accept capitalistic model of development, accept their social structure, and how it will be done. It will be done attitudinal and behavioral change. And who will help to do these things? Mass media will help this us to bring attitudinal change and behavioral change among people, right? And media was taken as hyper needle or magic bullet, and audiences were taken as passive. Media people must be knowing that what is hyper needle and or magic bullet theory. It is like that if bullet theory and or hyper needle, these are same thing. Basically it says that if media keeps telling one thing again and again, people start believing it, right? It is like bullet. They keep putting bullet in your mind, and one day you accept that yes, this is right. It means that common people are passive. They don't have mind, they can't think anything, and that's why what media says, people will accept it passively. This is what, and that's why these kind of theories came in at that time. If you will, these theories were in sync with all this paradigm, all the theories of that time, all the approaches of that time, all were to promote dominant paradigm, right? So this is the the basic idea of dominant paradigm, and there are various theories. We will discuss it in detail later on. So there is a criticism also, because if you have this kind of, you must have some criticism in your mind right now. But let us see some points of criticism. That first one is focused on industry-based development. Agriculture was low priority. Obviously, because if you are following Western model, then certainly Western model is of industrialization. Their development is based on industries, right? And but in third world countries, in country like India, even after we got independence in 1947, and now we are in 2021, and even now you will find that majority of population is based on agriculture. And since in independence, you are focusing on industry-based development. What you got, still your people are poor, still you don't have development in your society, still people, there is no social development, there is no economic. Yes, economic development came just to benefit a small group of people that we call middle class or upper middle class. They got benefited, but majority who live in rural India, they did not get any benefit. So this is the first problem of dominant paradigm, because it did not consider the actual position of that country. If they would have considered that yes, majority of population living in rural India and the majority of them are dependent on agriculture, then they would have brought in some other kind of approaches which would have given more benefits to those people. Second criticism is that lack of recognition of historical and cultural background in the development process. I mean, if you in any development process, there's always a cultural background and historical background. In a country like India, when people believe that birth of children is a good God gift, this is a cultural perspective. In a country like India, where women are considered that yes, they are just a transferable object from one house to another without any rights in property. So how will you bring equality in this kind of society? Because I mean, if there is a, I mean, you have 4 or 5 girl child, then you don't bother, because you don't bother only because you know you will just transfer your girls to another house without having any burden, right? So under this kind of cultural background or historical background, how will you bring equality? So now Supreme Court has started saying, so no, I mean, girls should have equal right in father's property. And how it will help? It will help that once a child is born, whether it is girl or boy, you have to give share to that child in your property. And when it will start happening, then certainly it will affect the population growth also. People will stop having more children. Why? If you have 1 or 2 brothers, then you don't want third one. If there are 2 male child, then family does not want third one, because that will property will be distributed among 3. Same thing happen when you will start giving share to the girl child also. That's why we are so you have to recognize this cultural background, historical background, and then only your approach will help our population. So this is the second criticism. Third is poverty rate as a parameter of underdevelopment was not accurate. As poverty rate was always inaccurate. A person having 2400 calorie, or forget about 2400, because before, at the time of independence, we have adopted calorie based poverty parameter, poverty rate. Those who are not getting in rural India, it was set as 2400 calorie, and in urban India it was accepted like 2200 calorie. So a person living in urban centers, if he is not getting 2200 calorie, that person will be considered as poor. And similarly, if a person living in rural area, if the person is not getting 2400 calorie, then that person will be declared as poor. but that was calculated in monetary terms, and now it is said that if you are not earning $1.25 as we discussed earlier, then you are poor. So this parameter is not accurate. What about those people who are earning $1.26? What about those people who are earning $1.30? They are rich. No. So this kind of poverty rate parameter, it cannot be accurate. So this is the third criticism of dominant paradigm. And fourth one is people's belief about quality of life is an important parameter. So it is not considered, right? People's belief was not considered in dominant paradigm. So these are certain criticism of dominant paradigm. Now there are various alternate paradigms also. Alternate paradigm means they have started, these scholars started criticizing dominant paradigm like Lagerfeld, Card. They found that interpersonal relations were crucial in shaping public opinion. Right? Media is okay, but our opinion is shaped by the people whom we know personally. Suppose you see something in media, you watch something in media, and you start believing in that, and you go to a person who with whom you have a personal relationship, and you start discussing about that point to that person, and that person gives some another direction to that discussion, then you will certainly believe that person, not media. Right? So they started saying, no, interpersonal relations are very crucial. It is not only media. So if we want to bring development in our society, then we have to understand, or we have to start using these interpersonal channels also. Right? Then only it will help. A triadic communication involving change agents, beneficiary, and communicators become essentials. It means in every society, in every community, you must have some change agents, some people who belong to that society and who believe that yes, this change is essential for their society, and then those change agents have obviously would have a close connection with the beneficiary because they are part of that society only. And then the communicator, whatever you communicate to change agents will help to popularize it among beneficiaries. So this triadic communication is very much important in bringing development. So these are alternate paradigms. They are denying the fact that no, mass media is important. No, they are saying no, mass media is not important. Interpersonal channels, triadic communication, these are important. This paradigm includes many approaches, which we will discuss later: social mobilization, community empowerment, social movements, grassroots participation, media advocacy. These are certain types that society should be mobilized. You don't feel that no, you are some person with great knowledge, and you are giving the knowledge to the society and they will accept it passively. No, this should not be the approach. You mobilize the society. You make them understand, no, this change is very much necessary. So this kind of community empowerment, social movement, grassroots participation, people start participating in the whole process of communication and whole process of change. Media advocacy, media should advocate certain things which is good for the society. So these are certain alternate paradigms, alternate approaches for development. So these are certain present approaches of development communication: diffusion of innovation theory, social marketing approach, behavioral change communication, media advocacy, entertainment education approach, globalization, social change communication. And globalization, basically UNESCO, UN talks about globalization. It says that if we start focusing on the idea of globalization, then ultimately it will bring development to society. That's why it is discussed as an approach. Talks about four approaches basically under globalization: that economic approach, in which it says that there should be open trade, one country should be open to another country, and that kind of trade will benefit the whole population. right? Then in the same manner, social approach, cultural approach, they want that cultural integration should be there, and we should start taking good things from other cultures. So these kind of approaches are being talked in globalization. We will discuss it. I'm just giving an overview so that you must have an idea that how whole this development communication is discussed, or how all this development communication process is being taken forward. Social change communication is communication for social change. This is also another approach. So this is what the basic understanding of development communication. I think you must have understood the development communication. So if you have any question, you can ask now.